The Sons of the Forest update has hit, and here's absolutely everything you need to know. Some big points: a brand new cave that is pretty much 5 times the size of any of the other caves in the game currently. New harder to beat variants and a brand new endgame boss fight. The return of the water holder using a turtle shell, a bunch more improvements. No more duping on a lot of stuff, and maybe no more save scumming. I'll do the patch notes towards the end of the video, but let's go through the main beats first. Leave a like, make sure you're subscribed, and let's go through everything you need to know. Sons of the Forest update number 2. So the waterfall cave that didn't really have a lot going on in it has now got one of the biggest cave systems I've seen. These guys have also been added to various locations around the map, cultists. So this cave has always been here, but they have revamped everything that's inside it. Inside you'll find the usual amount of old school loot inside the wooden crates. And then immediately you're going to be plunged into water as you make your way to the next section. It goes on and on like this. There's going to be various points with watering. It needs a separate video with a full-blown guide that will take a significant amount of time. But for purposes of this update video, yes, bring obviously your rebreather, bring lots of explosives and your best weapons. Not only are there the usual creepies in here, you'll also get your first look at a brand new version of these guys. Now these are called actually puffies, that's their name, and the harder version glows in the dark. They're actually blue. So I'm going to start calling them glowies. You can see considerable amount of shotguns are needed to go ahead and wipe one of these out, where normally if you got a close range shot on a regular puffy, it would kill them. There are some other enemies in here. I'm not going to spoil it just in case you haven't got to the ending, although we are going to discuss the ending spoilers, but we'll leave that to the right end of the video. I'm not exaggerating for the fun of it, this place is absolutely huge. Massive, gigantic caverns filled with this mysterious material that we've seen in the other caves. Strange new story beats added as well eventually when you explore it. And if you've already picked up the golden armor or not, it should be on this guy right here. It has now changed locations from the residential bunkers to this place. Just a warning though, if you've already picked up the golden suit, then it won't be on that skeleton, obviously. But yeah, the fan favourite ropes make their return, probably some of the longest ones you'll have to climb, and there's various other ways that you'll be getting through, like more slopes to actually get in the cave. It's a phenomenally big network. You definitely need lots of torches and lights, and make sure you've got plenty of ways to save the game as you progress. This took me nearly an hour as I played it on live stream to really get through everything there was to find and see. There's no other significant loot though, maybe just more story beats and the regular stuff that you come to expect. But no other weapons, no other big resources other than the golden suit. So the previous location for the golden suit, the residential bunker, has had some changes too. After the cutscene, you'll find now that you can get past the sluggy to make your way back out if you really want to. You still pick up the katana, the golden mask, in this place and location too. But just before the exit you will now find this CCTV control room, and young Timmy here is trying to access this door. This is the final bunker that leads to hell and the ending of the game. So you can go ahead and unlock it for him, and he doesn't even say thank you. And to be crystal clear, the golden armor is no longer at this location, but you do still get the golden mask. So you go, here is using the turtle shell to make yourself a rain carrier or gatherer. I do believe, unlike the original, according to my rat bags, you can actually put this inside a house or under a roof and it will still collect water. And also you can find the turtles on the beaches in certain locations. Another little thing, there's meant to be 2-story high cannibal camps now, like buildings or constructs. I went through a bunch, I tried going all the way down to the beach, but apart from a huge amount of the creepies murdering the cannibals, no big construct. So I'm guessing it's at certain camps in different places. Right, onto that final bunker. You can see it's open, you no longer need the key card. We are going to be veering into spoiler territory now for the end of the game, so you may want to just click off, knowing that the turtle shell has now been added so that you can properly make it into a water container, and they've also removed the shotgun from this last location, which is actually called the luxury bunker. So you'll still need the golden suit to get through the golden doors, but otherwise if you complete it before, it will still all just be open. Nothing has really been reset. Obviously you still got the demons, but there is a big surprise in store. Also, just a little FYI, when I mentioned that there was some new enemies also added to the other cave, yeah, they may end up looking a bit like this. So the usual stuff, make your way through, nothing really has changed until you get to the last chamber before the cutscene for the ending, and you'll come across this bad boy. It is now a super duper puffy demon. The cross does work, but this guy is phenomenally tough. You are going to need a whole ton. I tried different explosives on him, tried setting him alight. He's a tough cookie, especially if you run down here with all the other demons chasing you. So make sure you clear out any demons chasing you before you get to him, and then hopefully you can take him on. The other option is that you can just run past him by the looks of things and be able to make it to the final cutscene. Once he's dead, you'll actually get 5 pieces of the hide from him, rather than just the one that you normally get from all the others. I won't spoil the final cutscene if you somehow don't want to watch that, even though you just watched the last boss fight. But nothing has changed, it's still the same as it always is. Timmy has recovered from his knockdown. And so I'm just going to rattle off a bunch of the patch notes now for you guys as well. Obviously you can find a link to it if you really want, but for people that want a little bit ASMR with me, let's do the patch notes. So amongst all the other features I've mentioned, they've also added additional story elements. They've also added the auto backup system when overwriting saves. They've got the new surveillance room that we saw clearly, the new cave system, and of course the new tougher versions of the puffy. And this is the big one though, container items will now save their state in single player, so if they are opened or broken, they stay that way. So it does look like boxes and the big containers, you won't be able to save scum. Now I tried to demonstrate this, but we reloaded a save in the 3D printer room and everything on the shelf was still there. So it might only apply, like I said, to the containers. Everything else you may still be able to save scum and get more resources. You'll be pleased to know you'll see more now when you're holding a torch in darkness in first person. Firewood will now actually be used up, it will crumble, so you have to replace it with more firewood. Furniture or zip lines can no longer be attached to doors and gates. You can now use your left hand while gliding. Closing a save menu will now go back to game rather than pause menu. They've changed the face on the maintenance keycard not to be the player character. Improvements to Finnish and traditional Chinese text. Improved look of old paper pickups. They've added books to bookshelves in the bunker luxury. They've removed the shotgun pickup from the bunker luxury. Gold armor pickup visuals is now the full armor and is positioned to fit on skeleton burnt model. Improved the held location of flashlight and lighter when sliding, and additional wake up locations in the hell cave. You'll now get more food fullness from eating the MREs rather than actually cat food. Rabbits and squirrels will now try harder to evade player and run faster. They've added unique hit reacts to dining hall bosses and replaced their knockdowns from shotgun with smaller staggers. Players no longer take survival stat damage while strung up on effigies, and gold armor now absorbs 70% demonic damage instead of 90, so a big nerf there. Increased burn time on campfires, increased fire fuel amount produced by leaves and cash by 10%, and reduced the chainsaw full charge duration. The flashlight will now auto replace the battery sooner, so it happens before the light begins to fade. They fixed more of the duping that was going on with storage holders. They've changed or made it so that the custom day length settings will now work correctly. Fixed multiple cases of enemies being able to spawn inside player built bases. They fixed the pops on machete block animations. Fixed bloom on tech armor blowing out visually, and general nav mesh improvements. Issues with leaving a save menu would bring back HUD and leave menu state in pause menu. Fixed lock-in player movement when starting to dig. Alignment issues. Floors no longer allow placing walls if there is a leaning beam above. If a held item is set to require both hands, the equip will now also drop any logs the player was holding. Fix glider disappearing when player attempts to equip it while holding a log. Can no longer drink water while swimming. Fix missing cleanup of the player out of breath audio. Fix for players dying instantly if jumping in water and rebreather was out of air. Campfires will no longer set up fire sprinklers until the fire has been lit. Fixed issue with the player setting off in a bad state if they died while performing an interaction in the inventory, such as eating or crafting. Issue where the player could get stuck in a bad state when equipping, stashing and equipping items very quickly, and an issue with the player sometimes being able to begin eating by using hotkeys or starting other actions. Also a fix for the binocular visuals getting stuck on screen if the player opens the pause menu while using the binoculars. If the player is not grounded while the tutorial book is out, the tutorial book will be stashed. Items can be equipped while not grounded again, excluding books. Fix for campfires becoming interactable when the player is in another action if the player previously backed away from the fire while trying to light it. Fix for having to look away from the fire after lighting it before it would be interactable. Turtle eggs will no longer hatch on shelves or on the player Grab bag. Fix for GPS locator not being cleared after being picked up and loaded from a save. Fix for clicking anywhere in the grab bag, taking an item back from Virginia if the player closed the grab bag while hovering over the missing item. Fix for items not being able to be equipped from within the inventory if they were not left or right hand items. Tactical in coffin GPS locator will no longer show up after loading a save where the player has already picked it up. And fix for a client not being in sync with the host for season duration if the starting season was spring. Issues with the player out of breath audio not following the player unless they are running. Fixed hovering over crafted items on the mat, not showing the total number of owned items including the ones on the mat. Fix for player getting stuck in a falling pose if quick select is opened at the same time as jumping. Fix for the player always triggering the logic to dismount from a rope or when dying. This was causing issues with incorrect items being equipped after death. Fix for player being able to pull out their grab bag on fires when they do not have the grab bag. Fix for survival damage not working in save games. Multiplayer clients are now synced with the host stat damage and consumable effect settings, and the fix for breaking unfinished tree cabins giving it infinite logs, so all your dupes are now gone. Fix placement prompts staying behind when placement changes from valid to invalid in some cases. Fix beams supported by walls not propagating destruction properly to link structured beams. Fix some open edges on cliffs around the world. Fix some cases of trees vanishing when walking over some parts of the map above caves. Added firewood giving different amounts of fuel for host and client in multiplayer games. Fix the snow appearing on some indoor plants in winter. Blood reveal on demons should now match the body part hit. Fix cut ferns flying up into the air. Fix Kelvin being able to burn to death from fires. Fix some cases of AI actors getting into invalid states. Improve the AI navigation in structures. Prevented some cases of animals and enemies being able to spawn on player built structures. And prevented some cases of enemies attempting to move to stimuli they can't reach. Fix for grab bags still being able to be equipped on garden plots even when the player does not have their inventory. Fix for player clothing blend shapes not applying correctly in certain situations in multiplayer. Issue where the other interactions would still be possible while the look animations were playing or equipping the book pickups. Planting seeds in gardens will no longer consume 2 seeds at a time. Item crates and containers will no longer look closed if the player opens them, runs away and then comes back to them in single player. Fix for players held items not being re-equipped if the player is wearing the rebreather and exit the water but the mouthpiece was not actively up. Fix for players not getting their items back if the endgame cutscene is triggered before they have picked up their dropped inventory, and fix for all items doing their first look action after the walkie-talkie has been equipped. Fix player stuck with open grab bag if campfire is destroyed while they're adding something to it, and fix defensive wall placement UI rendering underneath cliffs. Fix the pillar building decal, drawing over hands, and interacting with a light prompt multiple times while lighting a fire, getting stuck in a falling state. A whole bunch of audio fixes which I won't list, and that is it. It is a bit crazy that they didn't have enough time to add that boss fight for the full release or the early access release as well. It would have made such a big difference, I feel, to some people's enjoyment, expecting to see that big boss fight. But it's in here now, and I would say it's still a stellar update. Yes, it may be adding stuff that you kind of might expect, but there's a lot of stuff here that I'm just blown away they've added. This cave is monstrous though. I do feel like it probably would have been better split into 2, but it does give back a little bit of that old vibe of getting really lost and really finding it difficult. It's just so long you will need a ton of help getting through here. The cultists really add more to the story as well, which I really liked, and the new tougher creatures I'm absolutely loving. I think it's a good idea to add some of these. So there we go, let me know what you think about the update. Of course, I'll do a proper guide for this massive cave as soon as I possibly can, and maybe some of the other bits that maybe need to be updated now. And I'll see you right back for more Sons of the Forest content soon. Bye bye.